Hello and welcome back to Shoogly Shed Motors. We're going to be continuing on the XV750 Tom Hurley's Dune Scrambler build. Last time we got the seat pan made. As you can see, I have taped on a little piece of card here to represent what the side skirts on the seat base are going to be like. Like I said last time, I'm not going to do them permanently until I'm 100% happy with where the edging is going to come to on these. Might just need a little bit of a shaving down, but also I want to make sure that I make the side panels first, because the side panels are going to come up and slightly under this just to complete that lip. So with that in mind, let's talk about side panels. I have been in quite in-depth discussions with Tom over the design aspect of these and kind of what we want to achieve. The main kind of functional goals of the side panel is just to sort of obviously tidy up the side of the bike on both sides. It's a big kind of chunky box section frame, so it'd be nice to try and cover some of that a little bit with something perhaps a little bit more design orientated. Also, the side panels are just kind of going to complete the tie-in from the mudguard to the tank, that kind of whole flow, that middle backbone flow of the bike. Yeah, there is a lot to contend with here. The shape is quite complicated. We want to try and do a little bit of metal shaping. Again, like I said before, we'll be investing into metal shaping tools, so it would be nice to try and utilise them in this application. They're going to be aluminium, surprise, surprise. They obviously need to be more or less mirror images of each other. The other side, there's an air intake on this part of the frame, so there might be a little bit of a modification to that part of it, but for all intents and purposes, they'll be more or less mirrors of each other. That obviously poses a challenge as well, getting that kind of mirror aspect correct. So yeah, we have been basically making designs on card and offering them up to the bike. Also taken some photos of the bike and sketched on a tablet to try and kind of come up with some sort of design that both myself and Tom are happy with. And I think we have a decent solution. So what I'm going to do is make another card template and put our latest or our kind of most up-to-date design onto it. See what it looks like on the actual bike, because I've only done it on the tablet so far. And then if I'm happy with that, I'll double check with Tom obviously, and then we will probably look to put that onto aluminium and then start thinking about the shaping that the panel will need. We've obviously got the curves and the bends in the subframe that we put. It's kind of compound curves here, it kind of goes in that way and tucks under, so there's a little bit of jiggery pokery. Favourite phrase, a little bit of jiggery pokery to be done, but I'm sure we'll get there. So yeah, gonna get some card out, tape a couple bits together to make it big enough, and yeah, take it from there. Right, I've had another video call with Tom and just finalising the shapes and design. Before we had the kind of sort of outward curve coming down there, but we've decided rather than trying to meet in too much with this line, just make it more of a design feature and pull a really sharp curve off the side of it, which is what I've gone for here. So when that marries up to there, you get that kind of flow and then a sort of nice fall off on that line, which I think is a really good compromise there. We've also put a little bit of a wave into the front here, which I also think makes a big difference to the design. It's going to basically get shaped into the shape of the bike here, and then this pulled under slightly as well. But as far as an outside or an outline shape goes, I think we're on to final version. So the next step is obviously to put this onto aluminium. I said this before, I didn't want to do this too many times, putting it onto actual aluminium, so getting this right was quite critical. And now that myself and Tom have agreed on this design, it's time to do exactly that, get it onto some metal. That is the shape in aluminium. Nice and shiny. So obviously there are mirrors. Well, they're identical, but you just flip it over and make it a mirror, obviously. So one will go on the other side, one will go on this side. I'll need to obviously shape them mirror image. I'm probably going to shape them one at a time, just in order to make sure that I get one perfect and then try and just sort of duplicate it in with the other one. But as far as the outline shape goes, that's pretty much spot on. Tucks in under the tank there and under the little side skirt on the seat base. And it marries up really nicely up here with the mudguard. So I think that is a winner shape wise. Now I need to actually, well, shape it. I need to give it 3D shape. So it's obviously needs to follow the contour of the bike, and I think that's possibly the way to start. I'm going to draw an outline of the seat sort of side skirt here as well, because I probably want to try and maybe shrink or bead roll that edge to give that somewhere to sit nicely. But I think as far as the outline shape goes, that's going to work really well. So yeah, get the pen out, mark up where I need to start kind of manipulating and shaping the metal, get this side right, and then we can move on to the other side. So that slides in very nicely there. The bead roll along the edge obviously marries up with the shape from the seat, and my panel gap meet up here is spot on. I've got that lovely roll over that I wanted, or roll under I should say, it's going under from the English wheel. That to me is perfect. I'm very pleased with that. So, can I make another one in mirror image? I hope so. Well, it was a bit of a random thunderstorm in the middle of, well, the end of February in Scotland. Unusual. We usually get thunderstorms in warmer weather. Colder weather not so much, but hey, climate change. Anyway, I now have two side panels. That took way longer than I would have thought to try and make the mirror. Effectively, well, I've said this 1,000 times in this build, but making one thing's fine, making a mirror is a whole different story, and that definitely was a mission. I did have to kind of alter the original one a little bit to try and basically try and alter both of them at the same time to make them match, but they do match pretty well now. They are not 100% perfect, but they'll be getting bodyworked and painted, so I am happy with that standard as they are just now. I don't want to spend too much of my time making, you know, the surface finish perfect when the painter's gonna sand and key all that anyway. So yeah, not really my job. Obviously I want to make it as nice as possible because ultimately it's all in the prep, isn't it? The final outcome. But yeah, I think that is as far as my skills will manage. So got to mount them now. Mounting them, going for a mount that basically means you can't see what's holding them on, but they're not going to be sort of quick release pop on pop off ones like I did on my XJR. So we're probably going to mount them from the inside at the electrics tray. Yeah, shouldn't be too tricky. Right, with those 2 bolts at the top, I need a fixing below at the bottom side of the panel. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to weld on these little tabs with a 6mm hole in them. And then hopefully I'll be able to make a little fixing on the underside of the frame rail for the subframe that these will bolt into. And again, it'll be tucked up out the way, you won't be able to see it. So that's hopefully the solution for this. And I'm hoping that kind of 3 mounting points, 3 points make a plane, should be strong enough and rigid enough. But we'll see. Once that's on, I can bolt it all, make a fixing and weld that onto the frame, bolt it all up and see how rigid it all is. And if we're golden, then that will be the job done. As you saw there, I obviously welded those little tabs on, and then we made up the little standoffs with M6 thread tapped into them. Drilled a hole, obviously, underside of the frame, bolted the standoff to the side panel, position it in that hole and tack it in place. So that basically means that the side panel sits in the shape that it wants to be for when I tack that in, and I'm not manipulating it to try and match up with a bracket that I've welded on by eye or measurement. It's quite important because these are obviously quite thin aluminium, and manipulating it too much basically means that when it gets painted, if it has to be manipulated to try and get on, you've got a risk of cracking the paint because the paint won't flex that much. So yeah, it's quite critical that these mount on nice and square without any kind of distortion. So that being said, the next thing obviously is to put this skirt on the side of the seat pan here. The seat pan needs, I think, a little bit of trimming in at the belly here. Very slight, but just a little adjustment to make this just a little bit narrower and a little bit neater. It's pretty much spot on at the back and the front. So that's all I'm going to do is put a scribe a line basically to the underside on both sides and do that. And then we'll make the aluminium strips to go along the outer edges. But yeah, as far as that goes, the side panels are now mounted up and ready to be painted with all the rest of the panels. Well, I'm pretty happy with them. It was a bit of a journey making them. My kind of first time doing like a proper nice body panel like that. Definitely took a lot more effort than maybe I expected. Well, I suppose I did expect it to take quite a bit of effort, but effort in different ways. It's trying to make two matching sets. That is the tricky bit. But I think we've achieved it. And like I said earlier, once they're sort of body worked and painted, they should be identical or mirrors. And yeah, The seat pan obviously is now finished with those side skirts on it. When Tom works his magic on that, I think it'll just all tie together perfectly. So that is the bulk of the fabrication for this bike complete. There's a few other tiny little brackety bits to do, not a whole lot else. So there won't be a whole lot more content on this bike for a little while, because the bike's actually going to go away to get a custom exhaust built by Hitchcock's Motorcycles. It's going to get a sort of high mount, pie cut-ish kind of scrambler exhaust. The reason Hitchcock's is doing it and not myself, they're better than me, and this bike deserves the skill and the quality. I've obviously made a couple of exhausts in my time, but big kind of curly headered pie cut thing is just a little bit out my wheelhouse just now. I can't be a jack of all trades. So yeah, I think it will really, set this bike off a nice sort of showpiece exhaust like that. So it's definitely worth it, and I am not in any way, shape or form upset about not getting to do the exhaust. I'm sure there will be plenty of opportunities to practice with that kind of thing in the future, but for the time being, I'm going to know my limits. But yeah, so the bike's obviously going to get kind of, well, it's going to probably go out the shed in the next couple of weeks, and head down to Hitchcock's to get done. I'm going to have a few things to do while it's away. I'm probably going to, start doing things like rebuilding carbs and things like that. But most of the bike needs to go away, because the fit up for the exhaust is quite important to get it nice and neat and tight on the bike. Bracketry and things like that will also need to be thought of. So I'm not going to be doing work on this bike for a little while. However, in the meantime, I will not leave you hanging. I've got a few other projects up my sleeve to kind of see over in the interim. We have the return of an old project of mine to the shed in a couple of days' time, hopefully. We'll tell you more about that in due course. Anyway, as usual, please do give me a like, leave me a comment, and make sure you subscribe to the Shoogly Shed channel. The channel is kind of building slowly. I say this every time, but it's really important. If you're watching this and you've not subscribed, please do make sure you subscribe, because it helps a huge amount. Take care. Goodbye.